So Shiloh is one of the more interesting battles of the American Civil War. It occurred fairly early in the war, April 6th and 7th of 1862. And the real result of this battle was that it showed just how bloody the war could be. The Union lost 13,000 troops, and the Confederacy lost 10,000 troops over the 2 days of fighting. So it was a real bloodbath. It was a large battle. 65,000 Union soldiers and 45,000 Confederate soldiers appeared. Why did it occur? Well, Grant was trying to take Kentucky and Tennessee, or at least the western portions of the state. He had had some victories at Fort Henry and Fort Donelson in February of 1862, and was beginning to move south, trying to get to Corinth, Mississippi, where he could cut the railways that would supply the Western theater of operations for the Civil War. The Tennessee River was a large enough river that it allowed riverboats to move up and down it, and he was able to bring troops to Pittsburgh Landing down in southern Tennessee and hold them there while he waited up for Don Carlos Buell's Army of Ohio to show up. While waiting there, moving up from the south, was Albert Sidney Johnston. Albert Sidney Johnston was one of the most capable Confederate generals during the American Civil War. He was being backed up by Pierre G.T. Beauregard, which it sounds like the most Confederate name you could come up with for a general. On April 6th, before the sun was up, 3 corps of Confederate infantry moved up through the woods and swept into the southernmost of the Union camps. Grant's men were unprepared, and even though there was intense fighting, they were quickly knocked back. During the day, the Union continued to a slow retreat to the north, eventually ending up just south and west of Pittsburgh Landing, where they were able to hold a line. The Confederate troops began to encircle the Union and were actually capable of encircling and capturing a number of Union troops. Some of the worst fighting took place at a place called the Hornet's Nest here in the middle of the map, and that's near there. Albert Sidney Johnston was shot in the right knee. The bullet severed an artery, and he began to bleed to death and was dead within several minutes. Pierre G.T. Beauregard was appointed the new commander, and while he was a decent commander, he realized that the situation was a little more dire than he thought. So during the night, everybody kind of calmed down a little bit and waited. During that time, Buell's troops began to arrive from the north, and the next morning, Union troops began to pour down from the north and push the Confederates back, eventually routing them from the field. So Shiloh was published in 1975 by SPI Games. It came out in what were called quads. These were very popular at the time, and what SPI would do was bundle 4 games with essentially the same rule set in a single package. It was a little cheaper, and it was a good way for beginners to learn how to play games. It was later put out after SPI folded. TSR bought it and produced a copy for several years, and then Decision Games came out with one later. So it's come out in several iterations. It's been published over the years. So let's go over rules a little bit. Now, I won't go into a great deal of depth this time. I'll just give you a really quick overview. It uses the same system as Napoleon at Waterloo, so if you haven't looked that over, go over and watch that video, and I'll give you a link down below. It's an I go, you go system, so it'll basically will be a movement followed by a combat, and then the other side will make movement followed by combat. The system initially, as designed, gave all units a movement of 6 movement points, which is kind of crazy. An artillery unit and a cavalry unit could move the same way. I've changed it up a little bit. What I've done is I've given cavalry units here, I've given them 8 movement points. I've given infantry units here 6 movement points, and I've given artillery units here 4 movement points. So they all move at a little bit different rate. You'll notice on each little counter there's a number, and that's a strength point number. There's no movement point numbers on these particular units. If the unit is turned over, it's grayed out. I think the Union Army here is a light blue. It's not a real good design, but that's basically a disrupted unit, or it's one that's been shattered. And when I talk about combat, I'll talk about that a little bit. You'll notice terrain is a little bit different. Instead of having all the open terrain, we have lots of forest terrain, and then this orange is rough terrain. The brown lines are roads, and then the tan is clear terrain. It doesn't do a great job of representing the real battlefield. I'm not sure what they were thinking. The terrain isn't really rough except along the river here, and most of the terrain consists of woods interspersed with these little clearings. So this rough terrain here really changes the battle up quite a bit. It makes it a lot harder for the Confederate forces to encircle the Union like they did in the real Battle of Shiloh. So I'm not really sure I'm a fan of it, but it makes for some interesting play. So we'll kind of stick with that. Down here is a terrain effects chart, and you can see that the clear terrain is 1 movement point to cross, and then forest and rough are 3 movement points to cross. And these are cumulative. So to cross a rough terrain that's in forest, it's a 6 movement point. Here you got that there, and I think that's makes it like artillery can't even cross that type of terrain. They're going to have to stick to the roads, but cavalry and infantry can slowly. It also affects combat, and in this case, the defenders get an advantage. It's doubled when we're combat is doubled. The defender's strength is doubled in rough hexes and in forested hexes. Oh, I'm sorry. Forested hexes, no effect. So just rough, I guess. And then if we're rough and forest, it's doubled. So they can kind of hide up there. Roads require 1 movement point to enter, no matter what the surrounding terrain is. So if we're moving along a road with this infantry here, and he can go 6, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got to stop here, but he can go 5 and 6 if that's all cleared. All units have to attack when there's a zone of control, just like in Napoleon. All units in the zone of control, and we're just going to fill this zone of control up. So all units here have to attack. This one. The only one units that can leave the zone of control in my house rules are these cavalry units. Cavalry can freely enter and exit zones of controls of enemy units. The others can't. They're kind of stuck there until they have to either retreat or the unit that they're fighting is destroyed. The one other difference in Napoleon is the combat results table. It uses a little more complex combat results table. And you can see here again, we've got the defender retreat, DR, and then attacker retreats. We've got these S's. And what those mean is that the unit has been shattered. And essentially what's happened is psychologically, morale has failed in the unit and they are unable to fight. And so what I do with these units is I actually pull them, and I'm going to pull them aside during the game and put them in a pile here when they're shattered. What I'm assuming is that when a unit's been shattered, it's retreating back out of the range of combat, and it's hiding out somewhere. When night comes, and we're going to go through our turn record track, and you get to night, those units will be able to come back, and you can place them. I'm going to place them anywhere in the battle line. They can fill all the gaps, essentially, of the battle line. We have the eliminations, just like before. And then we have the dreaded, let me find it here, exchanges. So if you remember Napoleon at Waterloo, those exchanges can be rough. You have to use a unit that equals the unit that you're attacking. So let's say we have this here. We have a, now let's go with this guy here and just see an exchange. So he has a strength of 5. So I have to pull 5 points to equal that if there's an exchange. So if there's 5, so I'd have to pull a 3, a 1, and uh-oh, I've got a problem here. I'll have to pull, I don't have one more unit, so the closest I'm going to be able to get is 6 that I would have to pull. So if we had a 5 lost here, a 6 would have to be lost here because I can't equal that 5. Again, when units are forced to retreat, if they have to retreat through an enemy zone of control, they're eliminated. So this guy, if he had to retreat this way, he would be entering these 2 zones of control. As I briefly mentioned, artillery cannot retreat. So if an artillery unit is attacked directly and is forced to retreat, it's eliminated also. Or if it's shattered, that would also be an elimination. When a unit is destroyed or eliminated, I'm going to put it over here in this area here. That's going to apply to victory points. To win this game, somebody has to control Pittsburgh Landing here. It's awful darn tough for the Confederates to be able to get up here and get Pittsburgh Landing, particularly with these reinforcements coming in throughout the day. Again, it mirrors the real battle pretty much, with the Confederacy pushing the Union back the first day pretty heavily, but then the reinforcements started coming in and the Confederacy was routed from the field. Artillery has a 3-hex range. With line of sight, they could fire on anywhere within 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. Let's just put a 3-hex limit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's get these out of the way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. So you can see, let's pull everything out of the way here. All of these units would technically be within range of the artillery. The issue is line of sight, so who could he see? Well, he's not going to be able to see there because these forest hexes are in the way. So rough and forest are going to cause problems with this. He could see this guy here, and I'm going to let him see 1 unit into the woods. So he can see him sitting at the edge of the woods. Can't see him, can't see him, can't see him. An artillery unit parked up here in the rough could see this guy here, could not see him, and so on. So that's kind of the rules. We'll start playing now, and we'll see how this game ends up. Okay, we're going to start Shiloh and play through it here. So we've got the Union Army camped right here on the north, while the Confederate Army is blocked down here in the south. And essentially what the Confederacy is going to have to do is push up against here and take Pittsburgh Landing. We're going to keep track of our casualties over here for Union destroyed units and Confederate destroyed units. And when we see these combat results that show a shattered, we're just going to move those to the side because they will come back around here at midnight, and we'll just put them in line with the others. So let's start with game turn 1. In this specific game, the Union is not going to be able to do anything but back up for the first 2 turns. So the Confederacy starts, so let's just play those turns out here. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to hit this flank and destroy it really quickly, see what happens there. Also got to remember to keep my artillery back away from battle. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3. This guy here, and he's going to be able to shoot at that guy. And then we're going to move that there. I'm going to try to take this flank out as quickly as I can. 2, 3. Let's see. We're going to move this guy position here first. 1, 2, 4. So these guys will get to go. We'll move this cannon up here. Let's see, where was he started at? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's about as far as he's going to be able to go. Fine. And let's move. Like I said, the hard part's getting his artillery into position. 1, 2, 3, and he's not going to be able to go 4. Nope. These guys could probably do some damage from here. I also want to try to get these really powerful units up front to the 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And see if we can just poke some holes in that line. 4. Okay, he can actually hit there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 8. So we'll move that there. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hold on with those guys. You have to be kind of careful when you're moving these guys around because it can get kind of confusing. So 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh wow, he can make it in there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. In here. 2, 3, 4, 6, 4. Hopefully these guys will look pretty good here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. 6. Okay, I think that's about it. I think I've moved everybody. So now we can do some combat. And let's see what our odds are. So first of all, we got 6 to 1. That ought to take care of that guy pretty quickly. So 12. And it didn't. It's an attacker retreat. So he's going to go 1, 2. And then we're going to move this guy here 1 to 1. 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's not going to be able to do much. That's okay. 1 to 1 odds. 7. Defender retreats. Okay. 2. And I'm going to take that space here. What I'm going to try to do is take out those artillery pieces if I can. 9, 10, 11, 12 to 5. 2 to 1 odds. 5. Fender is shattered. So this is our first Union shattered one. So we're just going to put that over there. And I'm going to move this into place. I'm going to say that this artillery can shoot down this line here. So 9 and 4 is 13 and 6, 2 to 1 odds. 5. Fender shattered. Another shattered unit. Move those guys in. So we've got a 7 to 5, a 1 to 1 here, and an 8 to 5. So these are both 1 to 1s. 1 to 1, 12 is an exchange. Oof. Okay. Unfortunately, that's going to be rough on this guy here. And another 1 to 1, 10. Attacker is shattered, so we've got a shattered attacker there. Okay. Let's clean it up. Move everybody where we need to move them. We've got eliminated and eliminated. We've got shattered, and we've got a shattered here. Okay, now it's time for the Union to move, and they're going to move to the north and the east, 1 hex. So I like to start at the back. This guy can't move because these are in enemy zones of control. Most realistically, they'd move along roads, so I try to kind of stay with that if I can. So I can't move. Okay, that's the Union's move. It's pretty quick there. Let's go to game turn 2 and see what the Confederate forces are going to do. Again, I'm going to hammer on this flank here. 6 to 1, 3 to 1 odds there. Move there, and I'm going to fire down that line again. 2. So if I can get, so this is going to be 6 to 1. This is going to be 4 to 1, which is pretty good. Nine and 6. We can fire on that guy. Move that guy into position here. Can we take out that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 2 to 1. He may be able to do some damage there. That's going to stay there. That's going to stay there. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And the problem with this is 1, 2, 3. Is this rough? That really presents a problem. So go here. He can actually use that there. Okay, we're going to go here. This guy can go 6 to 1. Push up here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can bring him into the fold. And where else can I fire? I don't think he's going to have a line of sight there if I moved artillery up. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 2, 4, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. Okay. So we can put a lot of guns on this guy here. I think that's it for movement. I think we've moved about all we can, so let's work our way across the thing. 6-to-1 odds. 10. 6-to-1 at 10 is another exchange. So those exchanges are just deadly. And this one really took a hit just to get 1 point gone. So okay, 3 and 6 and 9. So 9 and it's 18-3. Easily 6-to-1 odds with a 9. Another exchange. Man, 3. See, we lost. Okay. 9-5. So that's a 3-to-2 odds. With an 8. The defender retreats. 1-2. And we will step in. Because we want to get through this mess over here. Okay, now we have a 9, and 9 is 18-6, so that's a 3-to-1 odds, which is about what I want. So we're going to go with 3-to-1 with an 8. Another defender retreats. Okay. 2, and again we're going to step into it. This guy here, 5. And he's got a lot of firepower on him. Actually, for 2-to-1 odds, I'm going to use that 2-to-1. Try to get those guys. So 9, 2-to-1 at 9. Attacker is shattered, which won't occur because this is an artillery unit. 6 and 5 is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 3-to-1 odds. 9 is an exchange. Ugh. Luckily, I had a 5 there, so at least the exchange was decent. Move him into position. And finally, this 2-to-1 of the cavalry out here on the right flank. 2-to-1 with a 4 is a defender eliminated, so that cavalry unit's gone. And now the Union makes their moves backwards again. 1. Those are in. Those are in. Those are in. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, the Union has gone. I don't think we can move anybody else, so let's clean that up and let's move to game turn 3. So where we're sitting, it's about like the historical situation. The Confederacy has pushed the Union back a ways and has eliminated a fair number of units. In this case, the Confederacy. pretty much call it a game. The Confederate troops have been knocked off the board early. They have a pretty hard time winning this. Thoughts on the game? I like the game pretty well. It plays easy and it's fairly fun to play, especially if you're the Union. It does follow the historical aspects of the battle really well. The Confederacy initially is able to push the Union back quite a ways. I don't think in this game they could ever push them all the way back to Pittsburgh Landing, though. As the Union begins to form its line back up and get reinforcements, particularly those Union reinforcements on turn 5, they're able to pretty much wipe the Confederacy off the map. So, all in all, fun game. I enjoy it. I like the map. I think the map looks great, other than the problems with all this rough terrain up here. This just really doesn't feel very historically accurate. So, all in all, good game. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.